11Alive News at 4 p.m. starts now.
First at 4 o'clock, Tropical Storm Debbie is crawling along the Georgia coastline. We'll talk about where the heavy rain front moves from here.
I'm Cody Alcorn, just outside of Savannah, where Debbie continues to bring rain and wind, causing widespread flooding and even roads to be washed out. I have a live report coming up in minutes.
Just ahead, how Georgia voters are feeling about Kamala Harris's VP pick, plus more on who Tim Walz is.
Saturday, Donald Trump told an Atlanta audience how much he loves Georgia's state election board. Today, the election board met, and we talked with one of the members Trump loves most.
Good afternoon and welcome to 11Alive News at 4. One day after Debbie made landfall in Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, parts of our state remain on alert.
And here's what we know about Debbie tonight. Debbie is a tropical storm moving slowly along the coast of the Georgia-Florida line. Debbie is being blamed for at least 6 deaths right now, including a 19-year-old man from Moultrie in southern Georgia. This morning, President Joe Biden signing an emergency declaration for Georgia and ordered more federal assistance to go along with Governor Brian Kemp's state of emergency.
Well, we have team coverage for you tonight on how Debbie is making an impact on our state. Karis Belger will take a look at how the state is responding. But we begin with Cody Alcorn, who is live just outside of Savannah near Brooklet. Cody, this area has seen more than 9 inches of rain.
That's right, Jennifer and Jonathan. It's creating quite a mess. Right behind me, you can see this bridge is actually blocked. There's a huge tree on top of it, and you can see all of the water rushing here. If you look on this side to my right, you can see just how much water is built up in these woods. A neighbor just came up and I spoke to him. He's lived here for over 20 years and says he has never seen the water this high, this far back. And the reason for this, not only because of the rain that's still falling and the wind, but just about a mile upstream, we have a dam that's breached. We have some video of that. It is the Simmons Mill Pond. Now that I can tell you, that breached about sometime this morning. And that's a 200-acre pond that is spilling out, coming downstream here, just off I-16, if you're familiar with the area. And I'll tell you, it is causing a lot of problems, even over here in the area that we're at. You can see now back in these woods here just how fast this water is moving, and this is continuing downstream. So that is the issue we are having here, and it shows you the effects. Even today, as the rain continues, this water just continues to pour downstream, flooding homes and also taking out several roads. Right now in Bullitt County, if you're not familiar, we're about, I would say 30 miles down I-16 inland from Savannah. There are about 50 roads taken out right now and many more that are still flooding at this hour as the rain continues. So we'll have much more on this system as we continue through the afternoon. Coming up at 6, we'll have more on this flooding and what local officials are saying and what people should be prepared for. But it just goes to show you again, even with not a large storm, how much damage can be done just from the rain that continues to fall. We expect this rain to continue through Friday. Live in Bullitt County, Cody Alcorn, 11Alive News.
All right, Cody, thank you so much. And we are continuing our team coverage with 11Alive's Karis Belger at the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency headquarters in Atlanta. That's where Governor Brian Kemp gave an update on the state's response and gave a warning to Georgia residents.
Do not let this storm lull you to sleep, as a lot of affected areas right now are not experiencing rain and high winds, but both models are showing that rain will come back.
On a tour of GEMA headquarters Tuesday, Governor Brian Kemp warned that the full impact of Tropical Storm Debbie had yet to come.
We expect the area, 50 to 70 miles from Savannah to continue to be affected by this storm. The worst case scenario, we may have another up to 8 inches of rain. So unfortunately, I don't believe this storm is done with us yet.
When Kemp and other state officials spoke this morning, they said about 47,000 people did not have power at that time and urged those in impacted areas to stay off the road and let crews work.
The more we can keep the roads clear so that our emergency responders can get in there, the better off we are.
Major General Richard Wilson explained resources were already positioned along the coast, ready to help where necessary.
We've got lots of high-wheeled vehicles, and we've got a pretty robust logistics capability within the Georgia National Guard. So we're certainly ready to provide whatever support is required.
For now, the public is urged to be patient as more resources become available. In Atlanta, Karis Belger, 11Alive News.
Right now, let's turn it over to meteorologist Melissa Nord with our 11Alive weather impact forecast. Already seeing the impact. So where is Debbie right now?
Well, Debbie is right along the state line between Georgia and South Carolina, stalled right near Savannah. And Karis mentioned patience, and that's really going to be the key the next couple of days with Debbie, because it is going to be slowing to a snail's pace, crawling just off the coastline, and then it comes back in towards the coast. So some areas getting rain right now are going to be dealing with Debbie's rainfall for several more days. Here it is right now, east-northeast movement at 5 miles per hour. Those winds just hanging on to tropical storm category, and rainfall amounts so far in some spots in southeastern Georgia have already been 7-10 inches, even a few isolated spots close to a foot of rainfall there just out of the Savannah area. So we've already picked up a lot of rain. The center of Debbie right now swirling right along the state line. So it's going to eventually meander offshore. Meanwhile, on the north side of the system, that's where the really heavy, intense tropical rain band threat is going to stay, along with the tornado threat that stretches up through the Carolinas, where there is a tornado watch. In fact, you notice big picture though, we're on the outskirts of this system and on the dry side of it. So some of us are experiencing a lot of cloud cover, like in Athens and all the way down to Eatonton. But up in northwest Georgia, where the drier air has been pushed in, we've seen a lot more sunshine breaking out this afternoon. Mix of clouds and sunshine over Atlanta right now. It's hot, but we've had this breeze with us all day today. Northwest winds are 12 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow and into Thursday, that little path kind of wobbles offshore and back inshore. I'll talk about what that could mean for our temperatures and rain chances here coming up in just a bit. Jonathan.
All right. We will see you then, Melissa. Thanks. And be prepared for any changes in our weather by downloading the 11Alive app. You can scan the QR code right on your screen to get it for free and get the 11Alive weather impact forecast right at your fingertips. Now for a look at traffic, here is Crash Clark.
All right, Jonathan, we did have a couple of hot spots, both of them clearing, including this one right here in southeast DeKalb around that bend. 285 eastbound right at Flat Shoals in southeast DeKalb. That was a dump truck that stalled out. Now they just moved that out of the way, and you could still see a little bit of that red and almost stretched all the way back towards 675. But happy to say that's clear. That should recover nicely. Speaking of recovering, it's still a slow go if you're on your way to the airport on the west side perimeter, 285 southbound. You see those brake lights approaching 166, and it stays a little bit heavy all the way down past Camp Creek. The reason, an overturned vehicle, 285 southbound at Washington Road. That's been cleared. That should recover. So a little bit of good news as far as the rush hour is concerned. Some heavy traffic out there, but we've cleared up the two hot spots. Back to you guys.
We believe in the promise of America, in those values I learned in Nebraska, and we're ready to fight for them.
Well, that is part of a video out today on social media by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz after being picked to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate. In a little more than an hour, Harris and Walz are expected to appear at an event in Philadelphia for the first time as the expected Democratic ticket.
The announcement earlier today comes less than 2 weeks before that party's national convention kicks off in Chicago. 11Alive's Brittany Kleinpeter has been speaking with Georgia voters today about the pick. Brittany, what's the reaction that you're hearing from folks?
Well, a lot of people did admit they hadn't heard of Tim Walz till that announcement came this morning, but many shared they were eager to learn more about him. Now, according to his campaign, the two-term governor has helped cut taxes for working families, lowered the cost of insulin, and protected women's right to choose. Walz also previously served 12 years in Congress. While some of the voters we spoke with today shared pure shock over the pick, others believe he could help shore up support in the Midwestern blue wall states.
I don't think he has a record. I don't know if he's done anything.
I mean, so he's a gun owner. He's been a teacher. He's been in the service. So there's all those kinds of things that they pick that you aren't. He is. So I think it's a well-rounded ticket.
And we'll share more from those conversations we had coming up tonight at 6, as well as more from a political expert who will share how they believe this VP pick could hurt and help the Democratic campaign. Reporting in Atlanta, Brittany Kleinpeter, 11Alive News.
All right, Brittany, thanks so much. The new Republican majority state election board advanced a new rule today that would give poll watchers greater access at voting precincts. This is all coming after former President Trump in his Atlanta rally Saturday praised the new board's makeup and stoked concerns about it becoming a tool for election deniers later this year. 11Alive's Doug Richards is live for us at the state capitol and has more on today's vote. Doug.
Yeah, Trump's enthusiasm for the new members of the election board is raising some partisan eyebrows here at the Capitol, and it is also resulting in questions as to how that might shake out in terms of the votes that they take. For most of its existence, the state election board has not had a high profile.
I don't know if you've heard, but the Georgia State Election Board is in a very positive way.
Saturday, in front of thousands of supporters, Donald Trump loudly raised its profile.
They're on fire. They're doing a great job. 3 members.
Trump name-checked new Republican-appointed members Janice Johnston, Rick Jeffries, and Janelle King. Johnston attended the rally. When recognized by Trump, she turned and waved to the cheering crowd. So what's wrong with that? Plenty say Democrats.
Trump singled out the state election board members by name and thanked them for their efforts to change Georgia's election certification rules. Trump's comments may have shown his hand and revealed a concerted effort to undermine Georgia elections.
Political parties have historically appointed members to the election board. New board member Janelle King appeared on stage at an Atlanta Trump rally in 2020.
I'm working for election integrity.
King says she's still a Trump backer, but that it won't affect her election board work.
I appreciate the encouragement from the president. I think one of the things I advocated for is I think we should continue to encourage people to do the right thing.
One of the things that this election board is considering is whether to allow county election boards to have the leeway to possibly not certify election results, which is a result that could come into play if the election this November is challenged. We are live at the Capitol tonight. Back to you.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. We'll keep an eye on it. The Secretary of State announcing a new partnership with Enhanced Voting. This will bring a tool called Ballot Scout to Georgia this election season. The Secretary of State's office says the new program gives voters real-time updates on their absentee by mail ballots. The program is part of an effort to increase transparency and confidence in the voting process as we head into the November election season. Voters can opt in to text, email, or voice call notifications about when their ballots are sent or received. Voters can also register for the program on the Georgia My Voter page on their website.
Atlanta police investigating an overnight shooting that left 1 person dead and 2 others injured. The shooting happened on Thurman Street Northwest near Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard around 2 this morning. Police say when they arrived on the scene, they found 1 man shot in the head. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. 2 more men were also shot in the leg. Shell casings and a firearm were found on that scene, but there's no word right now on any suspect. A man is dead after a fight escalated into a shooting at a downtown hotel. Atlanta police say the shooting happened on the residential side of the W Hotel in downtown Atlanta on Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard. Police did detain 1 person for questioning but have not made any arrests.
All right, checking back in on Tropical Storm Debbie. We're awaiting the 5 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center, but they'll likely say this is still a tropical storm and just moving slowly over the next 36 hours. This thing is situated right near Savannah, right along the South Carolina and Georgia state line. And from here, we're going to see it moving offshore before it eventually makes a final landfall. You notice here, big picture, we've got these heavier rain bands, even a tornado threat stretching all the way up through the Carolinas, and that rain is going to be expanding here up to the mid-Atlantic as well as the storm shifts its direction. Closer to home, we have got a lot of clouds out in East Georgia, but as you get into Atlanta, the I-85 corridor and points west, the clouds thin out, you see a lot more sunshine, and that's why temperatures are a little bit warmer there. Now, Debbie is going to be steered out back into the Atlantic, and with that, we expect more sunshine and hotter temperatures tomorrow. I want to show you the spaghetti models because this tells the story of where the center of the storm might go and then the influence that we'll get from it. Notice here, the models take it out into the ocean again on Wednesday and overnight tonight, but then by Thursday time frame back inland. Now, most of the models bring it inland over South Carolina, which keeps all the rain east of it. There's still an outlier or two that tries to bring the center of that storm a little closer to the state line. If we did see that shift back further west, would mean that our rain chances would increase a little bit by Thursday timeframe. But right now it looks like it goes straight up north, up to the Carolinas into the mid-Atlantic, and that's where the rainfall threat will move as well. So rainfall amounts, additional rain possible, another 5 to 10 inches there over, and even some isolated over 10 inches amounts in northeastern South Carolina into southern North Carolina. Look at how it stretches all the way up into the northeast as well. So big rainmaker expected up there as well, with some flooding threats eventually. But closer to home, we're not expecting much rain out of this system. You've probably felt the breeze the last couple of days outside. That's going to be our biggest impact here. Here's the cone of uncertainty taking Debbie offshore, and then as we get into Thursday timeframe back onshore before eventually it moves its way up into the northeast. Now, it may increase and its intensity a little bit over the next 24 hours as it moves back over ocean waters, but we don't expect it to regain hurricane status there before it makes a final landfall. So again, there are still some tropical storm warnings. They are still expecting more rain across coastal Georgia. South Carolina, though, and into North Carolina, I think will by far and large see the greatest additional rainfall amounts and the biggest impacts moving forward. So some impacts include in southeastern Georgia, still some wind and more rainfall, but not as significant of a flooding threat moving forward the next couple of days. Here in the metro area, rain's going to stay east of us. We'll keep a little bit of a breeze going for the rest of the week, but for a lot of us tomorrow, it's all about the return of more sunshine and hotter temperatures. Live look right now, Truist Park, we've got a 7:20 first pitch tonight, 90 degrees in Atlanta. Still a little humid out there, feels like 96 degrees currently in town. Across North Georgia, notice how it's a little bit hotter in West Georgia where there's more sunshine than it is the further east that you go. Athens is only 87. We're sitting at 94 right now in Rome, 91 in Marietta, and currently 88 in Peachtree City. This evening for the baseball game, I don't expect any showers. It's going to be pretty nice, but we'll keep an airflow going. Still a little bit warm out there. We'll be in the 80s there. Let me show you forecast track. Notice all the rain staying east of our area tonight. Debbie's going to push further out to sea. And with that, we bring back more sunshine as we start the day on Wednesday. That sunshine means it's going to be a warmer day outside. We will keep that airflow going with the breeze, but we'll start off in the low and mid 70s in the morning and look at these temperatures skyrocketing in the afternoon. This model likely overdoing the numbers a little bit, but we have our forecast high at 95 tomorrow. But with the wind direction coming from the north, we're hoping the humidity drops a little bit, capping that feels like temperature around 100 degrees. So very hot day tomorrow with more sunshine. Thursday, Debbie moving back inland. It'll send a few more clouds in our direction, cool the temperatures off by a couple of degrees. And then from there, makes its way up the eastern seaboard. And we see a little drier air moving in for the weekend. I think you're going to like it. Low temperatures tonight dropping down to the low and mid 70s. Tomorrow, a lot of sunshine from start to finish, going for a high of 95 degrees out there. Let me show you your 7-day forecast. 20% rain chance Thursday and Friday as Debbie wobbles back inland. Most of us will stay dry. Couple showers possible near Athens over the weekend. Little drier air moving in. Sunshine, highs around 90. Crash.
All right, Melissa, we will definitely take some sunshine. You know, you keep rain out of the equation of a rush hour. Most of the time we do okay. Hey, there's that ever popular, very crowded I-85 ride. Folks making their way into Midtown. Nothing out of the norm there. I like those skies, though, in the background there. You see a lot of red on my map. That's always an indicator that, hey, the rush hour is happening. It's 4:18 in the afternoon. We start that 85 ride, jamming up as folks make that merge with 400. Stays heavy all the way down to the connector until you make your way just south of I-20. You'll rediscover some of that speed limit. And, of course, folks coming up from that south side, you get a little taste of that as well. About 22 minutes if you're on the southbound side of things, about 21 minutes coming up from that south side. And the good news is the two hot spots we had, 285 south at Washington Road and 285 eastbound around Flat Shoals, both have been cleared. Jennifer?
All right, Crash, thank you so much. New tonight, we are learning more details about a Metro Atlanta crash that happened last month, leaving one woman dead. And Cobb County Police this afternoon announcing that the suspect is a Tennessee man wanted for multiple charges. 11 11Alive's Molly Oak takes us to the scene of the crash.
It happened on Hicks Road, west of Smyrna, right by the Fisher Drive intersection on July 16th around 3:30 in the afternoon. Cobb County police say a truck was heading southbound when the driver reached for his cell phone. Today, police say that driver's name is Brandon Earl of Tennessee, but when asked, the police department said it didn't have a photo of Earl that it could release. Police say the truck crossed the center line, hitting a SUV, flipping it on its side, and then hitting another SUV, pushing that one over the guardrail and into a creek. Police say Earl then drove into a car, sending that driver to the hospital with injuries. Cobb police say the driver of the SUV that landed in the creek, Debbie Bates, was killed. Now police say there's a warrant out for Earl's arrest, saying he faces charges for homicide by vehicle in the second degree, failure to maintain lane, driver to exercise due care, and driving while license suspended or revoked. In Cobb County, Molly Oak, 11Alive News.
Senator John Ossoff and Metro Atlanta civil rights leaders are explaining the new impact of a legislation that's new that they say would hold federal prisons accountable.
Tonight, 11Alive's Teresa Bowles is breaking down the Federal Prison Oversight Act and has some perspectives on the conditions behind bars that led to this change.
But once you're in there, they don't care about you.
A sentiment shared by incarcerated individuals across the country. This Bremen man, who asked that I not share his name, served 25 years in federal prison. He knows the conditions he and others were forced to live in.
The AC, food is terrible. Dust coming out the vents, people getting sick.
Senator John Ossoff is saying it's time for a change. He spearheaded the Federal Prison Oversight Act after seeing it for himself. Ossoff says he's investigated widespread human and civil rights abuses inside federal prisons, including right here at the penitentiary in Atlanta.
Presumptively innocent pretrial detainees living in paper pajamas without access to hygiene products, with pests in their food.
The act requires routine and random inspections of all 122 Department of Justice facilities. The findings are then made public, and the prisons have 60 days to respond.
It's also not a one-time easy fix. The Bureau of Prisons at the federal level is a diseased bureaucracy.
Ossoff and other civil rights leaders say it will not only protect inmates, but also provide a confidential complaint hotline for their families and corrections officers, hopefully to finally give the forgotten a voice. In Atlanta, Teresa Bowles, 11Alive News.
Two new major investments are coming to Atlanta, focusing on the city's infrastructure. The investments come by legislation sponsored by Atlanta City Council. The first investment will go toward the Chattahoochee Water Treatment Plant Improvement Project. $13.7 million will help replace water pumps, upgrade equipment, and improve overall energy efficiency and performance. Roads on the city's southwest side are also set for a makeover. $33.2 million will go toward the Fairburn Road Complete Street project. The project covers Fairburn Road from the City of Atlanta limits to Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Drivers will see improvements like street resurfacing, bicycle lanes, curbs and sidewalks, as well as signal and intersection upgrades. Efforts to support historically black colleges and universities got a huge financial boost today thanks to Bloomberg Philanthropies.
Yeah, this is big. The organization donating $600 million to several universities, including Morehouse School of Medicine here in Atlanta. That's where we find 11Alive's Bobeth Yates. Bobeth, as I said, this is big money here. What's the reaction to this announcement?
Well, Jonathan and Jennifer, naturally, both students and staff are excited about the donation. And while top school officials are in New York right now for the announcement, they took time out to talk about how this money will help.
We get to double our endowment in one day. That's a big deal.
Morehouse School of Medicine's president and CEO, Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, was all smiles Tuesday after receiving word that the college was among 5 schools to receive $175 million as part of a $605 million donation from Bloomberg Philanthropies.
We'll use those resources for scholarships for our students and for innovative programs to help increase the success of these students and also faculty recruitment.
According to Montgomery Rice, the donation will also allow for faculty development and even pay down some student loans, a move that has students celebrating.
Wow, that's a lot of money for a school that we just got here, but I thought it was just great that our university president could even score something like that. Like, that can do a lot of things for us.
And student body president Kiana Murray says that something is allowing students to focus on school and not their finances.
anything that can take away the burden of financial debt to students, it makes all the difference to us. It really does. It allows us to focus on our studies. It allows us to really key into what's important.
Sentiments echoed by other students.
I'm happy that I have the opportunity to be here and become a Black doctor and provide back for my community, and the money is something that could help us.
Now, even with this $175 million donation, Morehouse officials say their endowment pales in comparison to other universities. For example, Harvard's endowment is in the billions. Live by Morehouse, Bobeth Yates, 11Alive News.
All right, Bobeth Yates, live for us. Thank you. As students are heading back to class, we are asking for your help to make sure they have all the supplies they need. 11Alive is partnering with Heritage Elementary School and McNair Middle School, both in Fulton County, to help them fulfill their Amazon wish list. Now, you can scan the QR code on the screen and it will take you directly to those lists. You will see things like school uniforms, notebooks, scissors, educational tools, and of course, books. The drive runs through August 23rd. All right, as the Olympic Games in Paris continue, one slight disappointment in 3x3 women's basketball. Team USA did not repeat as gold medalists, but they still took home the bronze. That's good, right? Our Faith Jesse caught up with the medal winners who have ties here to Georgia.
Another big night at track and field. Right now, we're in the mix zone. After those runners run their races, they're going to come through here and speak with members of the media. But first, I want to talk about a different sport, 3x3 basketball. The women's team, they started off 0-3. They were able to turn things around. Now they're bringing home a bronze medal. Two members of that team have ties to Atlanta. Ryan Howard with the Atlanta Dream and De'Erica Hamby, who's with the LA Sparks, but grew up right here in Atlanta. And I asked them, what did it take to turn things around?
Just resiliency. Was after each game, each practice, we just talked about how we were right there and we were just going to get better and better and control the things that we can control. And yeah, we turned it around.
Yeah, on top of that, just staying together. I know at a place where we were, it's easy for us to separate and, everybody just go different ways and just kind of fold, but we didn't do that. And, we looked to get better, like she just said, and, that's what we did.
Coming up later tonight on All Access, we're going to hear more from these ladies and their incredible feat to earn bronze in this year's Olympic Games.
Yeah, we are so proud of all of them, and we want to point out some programming changes. The Olympics are preempting 11Alive News weekdays and weekends, and while the games are on TV, you can get the latest on big local stories and weather 24/7 directly through our 11Alive Plus streaming app. Now, during the week, we'll be on each morning from 4:30 until 7 and streaming at 11 a.m. and here at 4 p.m. Then we're back on air at 6 p.m. and again for 11Alive News at 11 right after the Olympics in prime time. 11Alive News is also watching dozens of athletes from Georgia competing. You just saw Faith Jesse there. Cheryl Preheim is there as well in Paris telling their stories. Their reports will be featured during our 2 Olympic specials airing Monday through Saturday. The All Access Pass comes on at 7, followed by Olympic Zone at 7:30.
Well, today we are getting a new look at the Falcons' revamped locker rooms at the Flowery Branch training facility. The new locker room is more than twice as large as the Falcons' previous setup, with 90 permanent lockers to accommodate expanded rosters. There are also locker rooms for coaches and staff and an expanded equipment room. The estimated cost, $25 to $30 million. Certainly a whole lot of excitement and some new stuff going on with the Falcons.
That's a big upgrade, right? I mean, for a locker room, but hey, they deserve it. New season, new coach, new quarterbacks. New locker room. We love it.
We are looking forward to seeing the results that come of all this newness with the Falcons. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, the news continues on 11alive.com, and you can take the news with you wherever you go when you download our 11Alive News app.